I find somebody for you, somebody generous enough with their time to share with you what they did, the mistakes they've made, the successes they've had, and maybe lay out a path for you so you too can sit in that chair with me one day and be a power player. Today I have a gentleman that's becoming a friend of mine. I consider Matt a friend. Matt Manero started with nothing. Papa left him. His dad left him on a split. My dad left me with a heart attack. He left with a heart attack. And this guy started his own business, self-funded his own business that is now doing $100 million a year. Power player Matt Manero, how you doing, man?
Oh, doing great.
Great to have you here, bro.
You.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
You know, how did you find out about me, and how did we become? You want to just tell that story a little bit?
Yeah, so we're a client. We love all the material, but we moved into new space. I built space and a structure to grow my business to $100 million bucks. And one of my guys in my office brought me some Cardone material, and it was like pouring jet fuel on it. I mean, it was just crazy.
Yeah, and that what's his name? The guy that brought you
Christian.
He brought you the 10x rule.
Yeah, that's right.
And he kept telling you, read it.
Well, I didn't take. I mean, I jump on that. So I have an insatiable appetite for that stuff. So I mean, I'm always looking for more.
Right.
On that, and it was just, I mean, no joke, right? I'm in your offices.
Yeah.
But it was like hitting me in the head with a hammer. And I didn't read it. I listened to it. I love the audio side of those things, and it was just like, here we go. That's what happened.
So that was how long ago?
I got introduced to your material about 1.5 years ago.
Okay. So let's go back to the very beginning. Where were you brought up?
I grew up in Connecticut.
Yeah. By mom, dad?
Yeah, my real dad split. Left
Yeah.
my mother and I when I was about 6 months old.
Okay.
But then my mother remarried, and we moved to the town that I basically got brought up in, and her husband adopted me when I was 9 or 10, and he became my father, and I became his son. And
So you see him as your real dad? I mean, he's the guy that
I
influenced.
have a good relationship with him. Tough guy.
Yeah.
Hard-nosed guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's my dad, and I'm his son. It worked out fine.
So now, how much did your dad, your biological dad, leaving? How much does that influence that thing that you have? That I guess you have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it comes from that.
Right.
And I don't spend a ton of time looking back on that sort of stuff. But there's no question that there was a outsider chip on my shoulder,
Yeah.
sort of, me against the world kind of thing that got started kind of early.
Right. Yeah, I had that too. I know I had a chip. I don't know if everybody has a chip on their shoulder, but like I got them on both shoulders, and I'm like, I'm gonna take my chips off my shoulders and I'll put them in the bank.
Yeah,
Sounds like
that's great, but it causes some shrapnel. I mean, it doesn't. It is what it is. Some people think it's a problem. I thought it was a blessing.
Yeah. So when did you know you were going to be an entrepreneur? And I want to look at the year, like before 10 years old. Did you have any entrepreneurial experiences before then, early on?
I was always the kid pushing the lawnmower and shoveling the snow and all that sort of stuff. And I always, to be frank, I always kind of knew I was going to be okay. I always thought I was going to be successful. I just had no idea where it was going to come from. And I had no idea it was going to take this long and be this doggone hard,
And how long has it been?
I started my company, I was 25. I started my company in a one-bedroom apartment with a phone and a folding table and a Yellow Pages. That's it. So that was 20 years ago.
Okay, so you're 45
I'm
now.
45.
Yeah, so let's go back before that, though. Before the folding chair, the folding table, the single chair, and the phone book and a phone. That was before cell phones, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So before 10, your dad, your biological dad's gone. Your dad to be is not really on the scene yet. What's going on for you? You're mowing lawns.
Well, I mean, my mom and I are living with my grandparents, and we're just getting by. I mean, it was just the two of us, getting by. And
Only kid.
My parents, when my mother remarried, they had a daughter who was technically my half sister, but I consider her my sister.
Right. Okay.
No questions asked about that. So yeah, I mean, listen, my mother's parents right off the boat from Ireland, very uneducated. My grandfather was a milkman, and my grandmother was a maid. And on the other side, my adopted dad's parents went to the 4th grade. So I grew up in very sort of blue collar, hard working mindsets. not a lot of college. My adopted dad did go to college, and he was a very intelligent guy, just a hard-nosed guy. So so that's kind of the early days. I mean,
Yeah, and what are they telling you? Like, what are they telling you at dinner when you wake up in the morning? What's the message you're hearing during the day?
you know, it's very much of my old man used to say, "Do a good job." He was a hardworking guy. He showed up early. He stayed late. I saw that. I got that. But at the same time, I mean, I was doing my own thing too. I mean, I knew that it was different, right? I knew it wasn't the same. So, and at the end, I couldn't wait to get out. You know, I couldn't wait to graduate college and get on.
So you went to college where?
I did. I was a good athlete in high school. Thought that I may go on to play college football. Got hurt my senior year.
You're big enough to play, man.
That was the end of it, though. I had a neck
Yeah.
injury. That was it. So I went to the only school that I applied to, which was called Johnson & Wales University. I went to be a chef. It was the only school I got into. So that's where I went.
And you planned on being a chef when you got out? Or I mean, why a chef, dude? You don't look like a cook.
It was the only
You
school
kind of look
that
like the guy that does bar rescue. What's his name? Taffer, John Taffer.
Damn, that's what it is. That's what comes out.
Dude,
John
I mean,
Taffer.
you're a big guy, dude. You're a big guy. You know, when you're little like me, a lot of guys are big though. So, so you go to chef school, you get a degree in chef.
Yeah, I actually my
What is
final
it called?
degree-
What is that called?
My final
culinary.
degree,
or-
culinary arts, but my final degree was hotel restaurant management.
Okay.
And then graduate, going no place, get a job with Hilton Hotels, and they teach me how to sell. I go through the formal sales training process.
Matt Manero. I'm pronouncing it right?
Correct.
Matt Manero. The guy's written a booklet. I'll tell you more about that in a second. You're on Powerplayers. Welcome back to Powerplayers. I have today with me Matt Manero. He owns Commercial Fleet Financing, made the Fortune 500, right? 5,000?
Inc. 500, Inc. 5,000.
500, 5,000. Fastest growing companies in America. Going to do 100 million. You're going to hit that number this year?
Yeah, we'll get
Just
there.
short of it?
No, we're going to get there.
100 million in annual sales. Started with a phone, a telephone book. Tell them about that.
I started my business 1995, one-bedroom apartment, folding table, chair, phone.
You're out of
That's
college.
it.
You've done the culinary school. Hilton teaches you something about selling.
Yeah, I learned how to sell, formally sell from Hilton Hotels.
Okay.
And then I quit.
Uh-huh.
Just didn't. It wasn't for
What
me.
were you selling back then?
I was selling hotel rooms at various different Hilton properties all over the country,
Okay.
and it just wasn't for me. I just quit.
And then
Was it?
how do you make the transition into your own deal?
Floated around for a while, grabbed a bicycle, moved out to California, grabbed a bicycle, rode a couple thousand miles all over the state of California on my bike, sleeping in campsites. I mean, just looking
You're
for
25, 26 years old?
No, I was like 23.
Okay.
I was looking for a roadmap. Somebody give me a roadmap. Somebody give me something that I can follow. And it didn't quite play out that way. So, long story short, I get a job working for a fleet management company where we factory order and then we finance fleet vehicles. And
Cars, trucks.
mostly light duty stuff, so
Okay.
cars, trucks, vans.
Okay.
And then I did well there. I became #1 sales guy after a couple years, and that guy wanted to open up an office, and he gave me the choice. So I chose Dallas, Texas. Supposed to be a 1-year gig. I moved to Dallas, Texas, and minutes I got there, everything changed. The budget, the goals, the plans. And I said, I think I can do this one on my own. And that was it. And I left. I was 25, had no money, and it was a tough gig.
So you talk about somebody, you just said somebody give me a roadmap. Okay, I really relate to that because I remember thinking, man, I need somebody to tell me what to do. Or I think that was from the not having a dad personally. Like I'm looking for a mentor. So how long were you looking for that before somebody came along, or did anybody ever come along?
Nobody ever came along.
Me? What about me, man?
Well, listen, I had to teach myself some version of a roadmap.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to get it straight, you know. I had to get clear on what was going to happen and where I was going to go. And it's probably unfair to say that I didn't have a roadmap. Maybe I did, but I couldn't see it. I mean, I was just gunning for something better than what I had. And it just took a long doggone time.
Yeah.
And it took a lot more effort than I could have possibly dreamed.
So what would you tell somebody about that long road, dude, and whether you get a map or don't? I mean, like,
Yeah.
why have you been successful, and another 10 people that have maybe tried what you've tried didn't make it?
I knew that there was money in my business. So I knew that if I could figure out a way to work it there, that it was in the right space. So the platform was the right platform. You know, I knew that I could sell. And the other thing in my world is I knew that the big banks were never going to out-hustle me. And if I could build a company culture like that, in which I could get more people who saw it the way I saw it, we could really do something. And that was my goal. But it just took a long time.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. So you got to stay committed to it. You got to be smart with the cash. If you're making money, you cannot spend it. You got to hoard it.
Yeah.
And you got to put it away, because sooner or later, if you're going to make it, you're going to have to dip into it again. It's not like this.
So you're saying, I love what you're telling people right now, okay? And I completely agree with it. You're saying in the beginning, when you talk about how hard and how long it was going to take, you're really talking about what's happening in the beginning stages?
Look, I think it takes a long time in general.
Yeah.
I mean, like beginning stages for some people might be like 6 months. I'm talking like years, maybe decades. I mean, I've been in my business 20 years. It's a long time. And we've had ups and downs and ups and downs, and now it's a big up, right? I feel like the tide has come in and lifted our boat to the highest level, right? It's good stuff. But to answer your initial question, man, you got to stay in the fight. You got to stop getting distracted, and you got to, here's something I like to say to some people if they want to listen to it, you got to stay out of false positive. So the false positive is you have enough money to pay the bills now.
Yeah.
The collectors aren't calling you anymore.
Right.
You can take your wife out to dinner.
Right.
That's a false positive.
Right. That's when the guy goes out and buys a Jaguar, or not a Jaguar. He goes out and buys a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
It's his only car.
So I don't know what that
and
number
he loses
is.
it a year later.
Yeah, or he
You still don't know
lose
what the number is, do you?
No, I got my number now. I mean, I think that's important too. You got to pick a number. Sooner or later, you got to pick a number.
So the money thing's important to you.
Super. Listen, it's not a nonprofit. We're in business to make money. Yeah.
Hashtag, we're in business to make money.
I mean, I don't know any other reason to be in.
No, you know what? This is the only show that's delivering that information. I got to sit in here. I'm trying to help people. I'm like, dude, where's the money at in this deal?
Yeah.
You're telling people what about the money?
I'm telling you, you better pick your number. So I'm not telling you what that number is,
right?
But I'm telling you, you better have a number. And to be frank, it better be 6 figures and above. Because if you're a salesperson or whatever, you're a business owner, it's got to be in that range plus. So pick that doggone number and do whatever it takes to get to it.
And then this thing, hashtag false positive. I love that. I'll never forget that. So when you hit that 150, you need to go into this false positive mode that, like, hey, that what looks positive might be false.
It is false.
Yeah.
It is false. You think you're doing great,
yeah.
But the fact of the matter is you're not moving the needle.
Right.
So you know, and I see it all the time. I see it not so much in my office because I'm hammering on my guys for more all the time, but boy, do I see it in my neighbors and where I live and all that stuff. I mean, I see guys rolling, and I say to myself, how could they possibly be making enough scratch to roll the way they roll?
I know. I'm in Vegas. I watch a guy playing. I'm like, I know I'm worth more than him. I don't know how he's playing like that. I see buddies traveling in cars and doing this and that and flying in planes. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
They're false positive.
Totally false positive. Look, I drove an old Lexus for years to the point where guys in my office made fun of me. And the only reason I drove it was because it had a cassette player and I could still play my Tom Hopkins and my Brian Tracy's and all that stuff. I drove it much longer than I should have because I was so caught up in not getting caught up in false positive. It's a dangerous place.
Oh, it is so dangerous. And, you know, all those guys you just mentioned, Tracy, Tom Hopkins, they've all sat in that chair, man. And now you're sitting in that chair.
I love it.
Because, dude, look, he's telling you hard work, folks. He's talking sales. Every guy that's made it, that's sat in that chair, brings up that word. Learn how to sell. How important has that been to your career?
It's the only thing. It's the only reason that we're in business. Forget about the semantics and the business model and all that
Yeah,
sort of
what
stuff.
about a business plan?
You got to make it rain.
How important is a business plan?
We don't have much of a business plan.
Dude, he's telling you sell. He's not telling you build a business plan, okay? He's telling you it's going to be long, hard, false positive, When we come back, okay, Matt Manero is going to tell you how he turned this into a $100 million gig and how you too can do the same. Welcome back to Powerplayers. Grant Cardone here. I got Matt Manero. We're talking about hashtag false positive. This cat is laying it down, man. I'm telling you, I completely support what he's saying. He recently wrote a book, 10 Tips Every Independent Tower Needs to Know Now.
And trucker.
And your wife says
mover.
what?
My sweet wife of 17 years reminds me every time I call it a book. My wife reminds me it's a booklet, not a book.
But what is this about, man? Why? I saw this on my office up here, and I'm like, we're not towing cars here. What's up? What is this about?
So we take so many credit applications a month in my office, and it's the same problems with our customers. So we're in the equipment finance business. I mean, that's what we do. We finance heavy industrial equipment, big rigs, bulldozers, tow trucks. Caterpillar, yellow iron, as it's called.
For somebody that owns a Caterpillar, for somebody that's using one, for somebody selling one?
Companies, for small and medium-sized businesses that are buying that and putting it to work.
Okay.
Those are our customers.
Okay.
And we see the same problems over and over and over with those guys. And so I decided to write this booklet to help them run better businesses. The other piece is,
but dude, you get your tractor towed away? I don't understand the towing angle.
Because we finance tow trucks. So tow trucks we run it basically. My business operates in four different industries.
So you did this to provide the independent tower
education on how to run a better business. Same thing with independent trucker.
I got it.
Construction company, moving company.
Now, why this though? You're not telling somebody how to finance a truck, or why are you telling them?
We want them to run better businesses. Look, if they run a better business, they make more money for their family.
Give.
It is. It's a give. And the other piece was it was important for me to start to get more exposure for our business, and that comes right out of your material, right? That the money follows the exposure. Right. I didn't run my business like that for all these years. I was told you got to be small, you got to stay under the radar screen, don't take risks, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so this was my way of promoting us as experts in the space and now get some traction.
Right.
But on that note, it's tough to get traction. And
right?
It's first off, it's hard to write the doggone thing to be able to figure out how to do it. And then to actually get it pushed to the marketplace, it's rough, man. Yeah. So it's a whole new wake-up call for me of really drilling down and getting tough on selling again.
Yeah.
The only way you can push this out through social media and email blasts all you want, you got to pick up the phone and call the editor of the magazine and say, "You ready for some content?"
So you're 45 years old.
Correct.
You shouldn't be using social media, really. You're not the target.
No.
But you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're using these kind of ideas.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And you're still hustling. I mean, I can feel it from you.
Yeah,
and your company's going to do $100 million.
Yeah.
When's enough? This is the question I
just don't. I can't say that for some people, but I mean, look, I kind of look at wealth like this, right? You're either poor, which means you don't have money to do what you want.
Yeah.
You're in accumulation mode, which is where I feel I'm in. Or you got rich, and rich is you got enough to do whatever you want. You don't have to work. Okay.
Poor, accumulation,
or rich. Those are the only ways I look at it.
Or rich.
So you know, if you're in accumulation mode, there's nothing to be afraid of being in accumulation mode. I mean, that's where you should be.
How long do you think a guy would be in accumulation mode? I mean, I'm still in accumulation mode.
My guess is you don't need to be in accumulation mode, but for some reason you are. So you got more. I mean,
and then rich is what?
Rich is when you got so much that the work has no impact on your freedom. So you don't need to go to work to make money to do what you want. That's my definition of rich. And I'm in accumulation mode. I hope I'm on the tail end of accumulation, but I'm on accumulation mode still.
And what's driving that?
I can't put my finger on that, but whatever it is, I'm not afraid of it. I mean, really, I don't know where it comes from.
I love that. Dude, this guy's freaking a power player. Listen to what he's saying. I don't know what it is, but I'm not afraid of it.
I'm not afraid of it.
Who says that?
It's just, I'm blessed with something that, and I like to call it in my office, I call it a constant state of pissed offness. It just is. I mean, I'm not like that with my kids and my wife, right? But in the office, man, I want everybody to want more.
Right.
Do better. So anyway,
is that because you think the Irish, the immigrant grandparents, and they're coming over here with nothing?
It has a lot to do with
I mean,
that.
How could that not influence you? My mom had nothing, man. She remembers the food lines. I heard about the food lines freaking 1,000 times, and how to be grateful. And I'm like, I know that that grind is sitting there like the sand and the oyster, and all of a sudden it makes a pearl. But there's something I see in you that I can really relate to.
I appreciate that. I don't know how it happened that I ended up being successful. I just know that it took a lot longer, and it was a heck of a lot harder than I thought.
Matt, how would a guy find the hustle that's lost it? Did you ever lose it? Was it ever misplaced?
Yeah, I mean, I got caught up in false positive for sure. I mean, thought things were going well, and I actually thought that I was actually pushing in these small little increments, right? And then I came across. I burned the ships before I read or heard the 10x rule.
Yeah. I
mean, I was going for it big time before that, for about a year or so before that, but I was moving at 5 and 10% growth. You know, I thought that was better than everybody else. I didn't know you could grow a company at 200% a year. I didn't know that was even right.
Right.
You just gotta go, man. You just gotta go. That's all I would say to somebody is quit.
But let's say the guy doesn't have anything. I mean, you started with nothing though.
Yeah.
So what would you tell the guy out there? You have nothing.
Yeah.
He's got that ambition. He's got some ambition. He's had a bunch of losses. How does he bring it together?
I would suggest you better find the right platform. You better find something that you can make money in.
Right.
Because I mean,
the vehicle does matter.
The vehicle is really important.
Right.
And then you better find a culture that you resonate with. And look, I know a lot of guys, as I'm sure you do. I know a lot of guys who didn't go into business for themselves and went for work for big companies and got huge stock options.
Yeah.
And never had to go what I or you have had to go through. Right.
So it's not true that the only way to get wealthy is to work for yourself.
Totally not.
No, you got to find the right vehicle.
You got to find the right vehicle.
What do you call that? You call it platform.
Yeah, I would call you got to find the right platform in which you can make not a little bit of money. You need to find a platform that you can make a lot of money.
Yeah, and how now when you talk about a lot of money, where does the passion part fit into that? That you got to love what you do.
Well, look, I got a brother-in-law, my wife's brother. He's 47 years old. He's got 4 kids. He's dying of cancer. Chemo's not working. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So when you have that staring you in the face, you sort of say, what is enough? Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to leave your family with 5 million, 10 million, 50? I mean, don't you want to leave them with this incredible amount of abundance so that money never plays a factor? So, as
opposed to, hey, you're leaving anyway, and now you're leaving nothing.
Yeah, now your wife's got
or just enough. It could even be worse.
So those are wake up calls for me when I see that sort of stuff. I'm a little bit lucky that I have a wake up call already there, right? That catches me if I'm getting into that false positive, which I really try to stay away from. But when you got somebody dying of cancer like that, you really see it firsthand. That how could it really be enough? When is enough? And I think the answer is it's not.
Yeah.
You want to do as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are going to disagree with that because they're like, oh man, that's not right. But most of those people that tell me that, I'm like, well, where are you at, man? And they're like, well, I make 80 grand a year. Well, why is that not enough? Why don't you just stop right there? Oh, no, that's not enough. And then they don't understand when you get to 180, the guy's going to have the same conversation. So talk to me about the drinking. When did you stop drinking? I see a note here that you quit drinking a while back.
Yeah, I quit drinking a long time ago. I went to a customer meeting drunk.
Yeah.
In 1997.
Did you get the deal?
No, a guy threw me out of the office. I mean, he was
#drunk.
Drunk client meeting. So that was it, man. I left and I said, I got to get a handle on this stuff. This thing's become out of control for me. And that was it. I quit on that day. Never had a drop. That was 17 years ago. Met my wife a couple weeks after that. She's never seen me have a drink. I mean, it's a really important part of my deal. I'm not against drinking. I want people to go party and have a good, but it's no longer for me.
Yeah, you're like, hey, it's not worth the risk.
Listen, you come over to my house and have wine if you want, but I won't. I'm not in it.
Yeah, you'll buy it for me.
I'll buy it all the wine you want. I'll buy it.
And speaking of buying stuff, okay, this guy walks in here, such a classy guy, okay? He brings me a gift. Every time I've been with you, you brought me a gift, by the way. I really appreciate it.
Listen, when you're with the king, you bring gifts.
I mean,
okay?
look, come on. How do you resist that? Big guy, big smile, happy. And this guy's going to make more money in a transaction just because of that attitude. Do you agree with that?
Every attitude is so
you don't have to give your profit away, right? He brings me 10x cufflinks. Okay, now look, I appreciate this, Matt, because most of the time I hate presents because people don't give me what I want. They give me what I, this is awesome, man. Thank
I'm
you
glad,
so much.
man.
All right, appreciate it.
Listen, on that, I can't, I know we're talking here, but I can't stress it enough that the impact that your material has made, and I know it's for a lot of people now, but particularly for me, it was like pouring jet fuel on the fire for me. It was one of the rare times in my life where I finally got permission from somebody who I didn't even know. To just
tear it up.
To just tear it up.
And that's what that book is. It's about permission. When I wrote the book, it was I want to give permission to people to like.
It's exactly how it hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was
awesome.
it, man.
That's
It was
awesome, man. That's awesome. So tell me, what is next for Matt? I mean, what do you do? What, are you going to sell the company? What are you trying? What's the goal?
We just inked the deal. We're doubling the size of the company. I just inked the deal this week. We're doubling the office.
Somebody comes in and funds it, or you take a partner on? What happens?
No, we're just, I mean, we self-fund everything. I mean, I don't know whether that's appropriate or not either for long-term, but no, we're moving into new space. It's twice the size of what we have now. I will build out that space to do at least $250 million in funding, just like I built this space to do 100. So we're continuing to go for it. Look, it's a wonderful time in our business. I mean, the bank's got tons of money. The rates are cheap. The need for equipment is all over the place. I mean, it's an ideal time to be in our space. We got to go.
Right. So what do you say to somebody about when these opportunities come and the window opens?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about when it's going to close?
You know, I have some data now
Yeah.
that tells me every 7-8 years it's a little bit rough. So let's say we came out of it in 10.
Right.
17, 18 could be a little bit rough in my industry.
Right.
But one of the things
So you packing money away? What do you do with your cash now?
Well, from very early on, I take a piece of that top line revenue, and I can remember when it was like 2%, 3%. You know, now it's 10% of every dollar that comes in gets squirreled away into a reserve account. And I can tell you, after
and that's
that,
a reserve account for the business or personally?
I do it personally too, but I do it for the business.
Right.
And I can tell you, if I didn't do that, 08, 09,
you'd been dead.
I think we would have been gone. Just like so many other of my competitors.
Right.
So the hard part is dipping into that when you're losing, right?
Yeah. Because you've been protecting it so long, you don't want to touch it now.
But thank goodness we did it. And so those are just prudent things that you should be doing. I mean, if you're spending what you make, come on. You know, if you're spending what you make, that's
stupid. You're saying it's a problem.
Big, dumb move.
False positive, man. False positive. Look, this cat's telling you the deal here. Okay, when you have a big spin, you want to go reward yourself. I normally ask people what their favorite watch is. Some people don't have a favorite watch. What do you love to spend money
on? I love to fly first class.
Okay.
I love flying first class in a plane.
Okay.
So what do I do? I'm gonna fly first class.
What favorite car?
I drive a Cadillac Escalade, so I don't really.
Okay.
I don't
you're not a big car guy. Okay.
No, I'm not a huge car.
What's your dream? What's your dream purchase to go out there and be like, okay, before I die, I'm gonna be extravagant and I'm gonna do something stupid.
I'm not trying to follow your lead on this one, but I've been fortunate to fly in a private jet a few times.
Yeah.
Man, there's nothing better than a private jet.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate way to go.
Yeah. So that would be a big deal.
It's the ultimate connection to freedom. If you can roll in a private jet,
you're buying time, man.
You did it.
You're buying time. I'm gonna pick you up in mine.
Come and get me.
I'm gonna come get you, dude. I'm telling you, Casey.
Do you have it now?
No, not yet, but I'm working on it. So.
Oh man, please.
But it's such a struggle because because there's so many things that's like it's stupid, it's ridiculous. Everything you hear about is crazy. I'm not buying a boat. I'm buying a plane to go see clients.
Yeah.
And so I'm really trying to wrap my head around this concept. Look, I'm buying time. I'm buying time. I'm not buying a jet. I'm buying time. And if I can really break out of my middle class mentality and upbringing, because it's completely out of that loop, I'll come pick you up.
But you know how to hammer to turn that thing into money.
Yeah. See? Well, I took a guy's plane out 2 days ago. I beat it up. He's like, dude, my plane's tired, man. He's like, I've owned this plane for 2 years. He's like, this plane's tireder. Every time you get on, you just beat it up because I want to make it work, Yeah, so any last recommendations to a young person out there, 25, 30 years old, that's thinking about, man, I want to go get my freaking deal. They're lost like you were when you were 23.
Yeah.
What would you say? Go wander around the United States for a while?
I would say be a little bit smarter in trying to find a mentor. I would say don't push away like I did. Don't think you can do it all yourself. Find that platform. That platform you need somebody in that platform that's making money.
Somebody in it's making money.
You can't just go on a promise. You need to have real data.
It's not a startup thing. You're not talking about a startup with hope. You're talking about
I'm saying that guy's making big money, and
Right.
I want to follow his lead.
Totally agree with you, man.
Don't just say, well, you could make it. I need to see.
That guy's got money to reinvest in the deal. He can last. It's a marathon, right?
It is. That's the other thing. You better get ready for the ride. If you want to be in business for yourself, it is not a cakewalk. It's tough. And you got to get good at so many different things. You got to get good at technology. You got to get good at social media, which we're just getting good at now.
Yeah.
You got to get good at selling. I mean, you got to get skilled.
You got to get great at cash flow.
You got to get good at managing money.
Right.
And you got to get really good. Like one of the things in my office that we do most of the time in my industry, the banking industry, you have a 2-to-1 ratio. So 2 admin for 1 salesperson. I flipped it on its head. We have 2 salespeople for 1 admin. So we're going to generate twice as much revenue for that 1 expense item. You gotta know what that stuff means.
Yeah.
You know?
This cat's breaking the rules, man. He wants you. I know he wants you to break the rules.
I want you to do
How many
great.
people do you want to be successful?
As many as they possibly can.
So the guy making a lot of money, doesn't he want other people to do well?
Totally.
Right? You don't want people not to do well.
No. Never been like that my whole life.
Nobody
I've
is, man.
always
No rich
celebrated.
guys are like that. Rich guys want other people to be rich.
Yeah.
They want to go hang with you. They don't want to pick up the freaking tab every time and you're a freeloader, man, right? Don't you like it when one of your guys says, hey, I'm buying tonight?
Yeah, it doesn't happen all that much, but I do like it.
Matt,
Hey,
we appreciate having you
thanks,
on Power
buddy. It's
Players.
great
Okay,
time.
this cat is telling you folks. Okay, one of the best interviews that I've done. It's been great for me. You see, I take notes. He's talking about money's important. Find the right vehicle. Find the right platform. I might have a chip on my shoulder, but so what? Okay,
It's a gift.
it's a gift. Maybe it's a gift. You know, he's been given permission to explode his business. He's using fewer admin and more salesmen. He's telling you sales is important. Matt Manero, get his book. Where can they get this?
You can go to
Anywhere they tow trucks.
You can go to 10 tips, 10towertips.com, 10truckertips.com,
Okay.
and then follow me at Twitter at Matt Manero.
Matt Manero on Twitter. Hey, this is a gift. This just came out. Okay, so I want to get you one of these. Okay, M
Thank you
squared.
for
I'm gonna
that.
give this to M squared.
Now I'm gonna have to look up who the guy on what'd you call it? Bar Rescue.
Bar Rescue.
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
look
yeah,
up who
yeah,
that guy
yeah.
is.
Hey, tweet if he looks like John Tafferty.
Oh man!
Tweet it out. Okay.
You can
Hey,
tweet if it's George Clooney too. Go
Well,
ahead.
that'd be me, okay. All right. Hey, thanks for joining Power Players this week. Next week, every week, man, on Whatever It Takes Network, I'm going to bring you, ladies and gentlemen, somebody that can be a good example for where you're going. Be great. Nothing else pays you. Be a power player. I look forward to having you two in that gym.